The rain had started as a whisper on the trailer roof, soft at first, then louder, then constant. It was the kind of rain that made silence feel even heavier. Keanu Reeves sat at the small wooden table, hands wrapped around a paper cup of coffee that had long gone cold. He hadn't touched it, hadn't moved in minutes. The quiet around him wasn't peaceful. It was the kind that pressed against your chest, the kind that reminded you of every word you never said and every moment you didn't stop to feel. He was supposed to be gone by now. The shoot had wrapped an hour ago. The others had already left, laughter and engines fading in the distance, but he stayed. Not because he had to, but because something in him was still waiting for what he didn't know, just knew he wasn't ready to walk out into that storm. A knock broke through the rain, soft, hesitant. He didn't move right away, just lifted his eyes slowly toward the trailer door. One knock, then nothing, not even a voice. It's just stillness. Then another knock, lighter this time. It's like whoever was there wasn't sure they should be. He stood. Each step toward the door felt strange, like the floor was shifting under him, not from the storm outside, but from something heavier inside. He opened the door, and there she was. Ana de Armas stood there without an umbrella, her long coat soaked at the shoulders, hair clinging to her face. Her lips trembled not from cold, but from something else. She didn't speak. She just looked up at him with eyes that held 1,000 words but refused to say any. He stepped aside, without asking anything. She walked in. He closed the door behind her, locked it out of habit. Neither of them said a word. She stood near the little heater in the corner, rubbing her hands together. She didn't look at him right away. She stared at the floor, breathing slow and deep, like trying to hold something in. Keanu watched her, not with curiosity, not with confusion, but with that quiet kind of understanding that didn't need explaining. Finally, Ana spoke. I couldn't leave. Her voice was soft, raw, like she had swallowed it a few times before letting it out. Keanu didn't answer right away. He walked to the table, poured warm water from the kettle into 2 cups. One for her, one for himself. Neither could I, he said. She smiled a little, but it didn't reach her eyes. Ana took the cup and sat across from him. The rain got louder outside, but inside, the silence between them started to change. It wasn't heavy anymore. It was something else now, something fragile, something that could break with the wrong word. I messed it up today, she whispered. That scene, ... The close dash up, ... I froze. I saw the cameras. I saw the lights. And suddenly, I wasn't her anymore. I was just me, standing there, scared. Keanu listened. No interruptions, no advice, just listened. She kept going. And then I heard someone say we'll fix it in post, like I wasn't even there anymore. Her hands tightened around the cup, her knuckles pale. Do you ever feel like that? She asked. Like you're trying so hard to become the role, to give it everything, and still you get swallowed by the space between the takes. Didn't answer with words at first. Just looked at her with eyes that held weight, like he had carried the same feeling 100 times before. Yes, he said finally. I do. Ana's shoulders sank with relief. It's like she'd been holding her breath for hours. Keanu leaned back slightly in his chair. You know, some scenes aren't about being perfect. They're about being real. And sometimes ... being real means being broken for a moment. But it's a movie, she said. People want something polished. They want magic. Real is magic, he replied. She looked at him then, really looked. And for the first time that night, the silence between them became something soft, something warm. You always know what to say, she whispered. Keanu shook his head slowly. No, I just say what I needed to hear once. They sat like that for a while, sipping warm water, listening to the rain. Paper. She placed it on the table between them. What's that? He asked gently. My original audition script, she said. Carry it with me every day. It reminds me why I wanted this role. Why I said yes to this film? Keanu unfolded the page, read a few lines. The edges were worn. The ink faded in places. But the words still held weight. He handed it back carefully, like it was something sacred. Keep it, she said. I want you to have it. He looked at her in surprise. You believed in me? she said. Even before I did. Maybe you'll know when I need to believe again? Keanu didn't smile. He nodded. That quiet kind of nod that means everything without needing to say it. Outside, the storm started to slow. The tapping of rain softened into a hush. Anna stood up slowly, walked to the door. Her hand paused on the handle. Thank you, she said, Keanu. Looked at her. Come back tomorrow. She looked back, her eyes softer now. No tremble in her voice. I will. And then she was gone. The trailer felt different now, not less quiet. Just less lonely. Keanu looked down at the folded script in his hand, then he smiled. The morning light was soft and gray, still wet from the night storm. The sky hadn't fully cleared, but the rain had stopped. The air held that quiet stillness that comes after everything has been washed clean. Trailers stood in a long row on set, their metal sides catching light like mirrors. A few crew members moved between them, early risers setting up before the noise and rush began. Keanu Reeves stood alone by the coffee cart, his jacket zipped up, his hands tucked into his pockets. He looked rested, but quiet. Oh, the kind of quiet that held thought behind the eyes. He wasn't waiting for coffee. He wasn't waiting for anyone. Not exactly. But something in the way he glanced toward the far trailer said he was expecting something. Or someone. Then he saw her. Ana de Armas stepped out of her trailer wearing a black hoodie and jeans. No makeup, no glam, just her. Simple, real. Her eyes met his across the open space. For a moment, neither moved. Then she started walking. Slow. Sure. When she reached him, she smiled. A real smile this time. Not perfect, not posed. Just true. You came early, he said gently. I didn't sleep much, she replied. Thought it'd be better to be here. He nodded, then motioned to the cart. Tea. She looked at him. Only if it's the kind you made last night, he smiled. Then we'll have to steal a kettle. They found a quiet spot near the back of the set. No cameras, no noise. Just the two of them sitting on a wooden step, warm tea between there. Palms. Anna pulled her knees up and hugged them. I kept thinking about last night, she said. About how I almost left. But you didn't, Keanu said. No, she whispered, because someone waited. There was a silence after that. Not heavy, just soft. Like the kind that grows when two people are not strangers anymore. Then something shifted. A call came over the radio, something urgent. Crew running, voices shouting. Keanu and Anna stood quickly, followed the noise to the front of the set. Lights flickered. Someone had collapsed near the lighting rig. Grip had fallen hard. Others knelt beside him, calling for medics. Anna froze, panic in her eyes. Keanu stepped in front of her, steady. Stay. Back, he said softly. But she didn't. She stepped forward anyway. Knelt beside the injured man and gently placed her hand on his shoulder. Stay with us, she whispered. They're coming. Just breathe. Her voice was calm. Not the voice of an actress in makeup. Not the voice of a rising star. It was human, kind. Needed. Keanu watched her. Something changed in his face. Quiet pride, a quiet knowing. The medic team arrived. The man was carried off safely. But the crew stood still for a moment longer. Not because of fear, but because they had seen something real in Anna, something most cameras missed. Later that day, the director called a break. Anna sat alone at the edge of the lot, the sunlight, warm now on her shoulders. She pulled out a worn notebook from her bag, flipped through pages filled with scribbles, thoughts, dialogue, half-finished poems. Keanu walked up slowly. You're right, she smiled. Only when I don't know how else to breathe. He sat beside her. What are you writing now? She looked down at the open page, then handed him the notebook. It read, Sometimes I think people don't see me. They see what they want to see. The smile, the screen. It, but not the storm. Not the part of me that shakes. Last night, someone saw the storm and didn't look away. Keanu closed the notebook and handed it back. You should keep writing, he said. You think so? She asked, almost like a child again. hoping I. No, so, he said, because what you write comes from the same place you act from. Not for them, but for you. Anna looked down, holding the notebook close, then whispered, I used to dream about being seen, not famous, just ... seen, really seen. I thought this career would do it. Some days it just feels like mirrors and masks. Then break the mirrors, Keanu said gently. Throw away the masks. Her eyes met his. Die. For a moment they just breathed. A loud voice called from across the lot. Mayana, we're setting the next scene. They stood. You ready? He asked. She didn't answer right away and nodded slowly. Yes, but not to be perfect, just to be true. They walked side by side toward the set. This time when the camera rolled, Anna didn't act. She felt the difference was in her eyes, her voice, her breath. Everyone on set noticed it. But Keanu, he just watched silently, arms crossed, A small smile on his face. After the scene, the director approached her. That was something else, he said. What changed? She looked toward Keanu. I stopped hiding, she said. The sun was just beginning to fall behind the tall buildings, casting long shadows across the lot. Golden light painted the trailers in a soft glow, but the warmth in the air had started to fade. Inside the studio, the energy had changed. Wasn't the usual hum of wires or the shuffling of crew members? It was tighter, more tense. Something unsaid lingered in the corners of the set like fog that wouldn't lift. Anna sat on the edge of the prop bed, hands folded tightly in her lap. Her costume felt too tight, though it fit just fine. The script pages on the table in front of her were stained with the faint curve of her fingerprints, wet, or nerves, or both. The next scene was hard. Not technically, emotionally. It required her to cry, not because the script told her to, but because the moment needed it to feel real, and she wasn't sure she had anything left in her to give. Keanu was sitting nearby, quietly reviewing his lines. But he wasn't reading. He was watching her from the corner of his eye. Her shoulders weren't just tense, they were rising and falling too fast. Her hands had started to shake again. She stood up suddenly and walked. Out of the set, not a word, not a glance. Keanu waited 3 full seconds, then followed her. He found her in the hallway behind wardrobe, leaning against a wall, eyes closed, her breathing shallow. When she opened her eyes and saw him, her face crumpled and she turned away. I can't do this today, she said. Her voice was thin, like a thread about to snap. They want me to feel something, but everything inside me feels frozen. I'm trying, Keanu, but it's not coming. He didn't step closer, just leaned against the wall beside her. You don't have to give what you don't have, he said quietly. But it's my job, she snapped, instantly regretting it. Sorry. Just ... I hate this feeling. Like I'm empty when I'm supposed to be full. And maybe the scene isn't about being full, he said. Maybe it's about being empty. Maybe that's what the character feels too. Anna's lips parted, but no words came. You ever think, Keanu said gently, that sometimes the hardest scenes are the ones that show us something we're not ready to see? Anna slowly sank down to the floor, back against the wall, knees folded up to her chest. Last night I felt strong. Today I feel like glass. Glass breaks, he said. But it also lets light in. She looked at him then. Her eyes didn't shine. They were tired, worn. I used to think if I just worked harder, I could control how I felt, how people saw me, how much pain showed. What if the strength, Keanu asked, is in showing it anyway? A silence fell between them, deeper this time, not cold, just honest. Then she said something she hadn't told anyone on set. My father's in the hospital. I didn't tell production. I didn't want anyone to treat me different. He's been in and out for months now. I get updates in between takes. Texts that don't tell me enough. And every time my phone buzzes, I don't know if it's the last one. Keanu didn't speak. His jaw tightened slightly. But he stayed still, present. This morning I got a message, she said. His lungs are weak, and they're not sure how many days he has left. A tear slipped from her eye, but she didn't brush it away. I haven't told anyone, because I thought if I buried it deep enough, I could still be strong on set, still be the version of me they all expect. Keanu lowered himself slowly, too. The floor beside her. His voice was softer than the silence around them. You don't have to be that version, he said. Not here. Not with me. Anna leaned her head back against the wall. Her voice cracked. What if I can't do this, Keanu? What if I walk back in there and all they see is someone who's breaking? He looked straight ahead. Then slowly said, I've seen people break on screen. The good ones. The honest ones. And it's the most human thing in the world. If you walk back in there, and break. They won't see weakness. They'll see truth. Anna closed her eyes. A long breath. Will you stay close? She asked. Always. He said when they returned to the set, the crew was quiet, not respectful. No one asked where she'd gone. No one pushed her. Director simply nodded, then gave the cue. The scene began. Anna stood in the middle of the frame, her shoulders drawn back, her breath unsteady. Keanu stepped into the shot with her. She didn't cry on command. She didn't force it. But as she looked into his eyes, his steady, still eyes, everything she had been holding back started to rise. And then, like a wave that couldn't be stopped, she broke. Not loudly, not dramatically, but truthfully. A single tear rolled down her cheek, then another, and when she spoke her line, it came from a place no script could write. The room was silent when the director called cut. No one moved. Anna didn't. Look around. She didn't check for approval. She turned to Keanu. He gave her the smallest nod, and she finally smiled. Later back in her trailer, she sat alone for a few moments. Then her phone buzzed. A message from the hospital. He's stable, breathing easier, resting. She exhaled like she'd been underwater all. Then there was a knock on her trailer door. Just one. She opened it. Keanu stood there, holding a cup of tea. No words tonight, he said. Good, she whispered. I think I used all of mine. They sat side by side in silence. No masks, no mirrors. Just two people. He handed her a folded note before he left. Nothing dramatic, just one sentence. Scenes stay with us forever, not because we acted them well, but because we lived them true. The next morning began without sound. The sky was pale gray, so if the world hadn't quite made up its mind whether to offer sun or rain. The set was slower that day. Quieter, the schedule was light. Only a few scenes, no rush, no tension. Still, Anna felt something stirring beneath the calm, something unspoken. She had slept. Not much, but enough to feel like her feet could carry her again. She walked onto set, wrapped in a soft sweater, hair tied back, eyes tired but peaceful. The kind of peaceful that comes not from everything being okay, but from no longer pretending that it is. Keanu saw her before she saw him. He stood by the coffee table, same place as before, like he belonged there. It's like that spot was waiting. For her too, he gave her a slight nod. Not asking anything, not expecting. Just there, she joined him without a word. He handed her a cup of tea, and they sat side by side on the low wooden platform by the storage crates. Your scene yesterday? Began. Don't, she whispered. I still feel it. He smiled gently. Good. Meant to be unpacked. She sipped her tea. The warmth settled her. But even with the calm between them, something inside her buzzed. A hum she didn't understand. Then a crew assistant approached, hesitant. Anna, he said softly. There's someone asking for you? They said they know you. They're waiting just outside the studio gates. Anna frowned. Who? The assistant handed her a note. Folded once, plain paper, no name. Just a sentence written in handwriting she hadn't seen in years. You still? Disappear when it gets hard. I'm here now. Let's talk. She stared at it. Her breath hitched. She didn't speak. Keanu leaned in slightly. Everything okay? She didn't look up. It's my brother. Keanu waited. We haven't spoken. In almost 4 years. Beat. Last time I saw him, she said slowly, he asked me to help with something. Money. Legal stuff. He was in trouble. I told him I couldn't, not because I didn't want to, but because I was barely standing myself. I chose me, and he never forgave that. Keanu didn't say anything. Anna stood, shaky, uncertain. I should go see him, she said. He flew all the way here. Keanu met her eyes. Want me to walk with you? No, she whispered. This one I walk alone. Outside the studio gates, her brother leaned against a silver car. Same eyes, same crooked jaw. Older now, tired in ways life doesn't always show. You look like her, he said softly. Like the sister I used to know. Anna didn't smile. You sent a note. Not a greeting, he shrugged.
I wasn't sure you'd come.
I came, she said. A long silence. Look, he began. I didn't come to ask for anything. I came because Mom told me you've been going through something.
No.
She said you looked tired even when you smiled on TV. Anna blinked. That sentence hit harder than she expected. And she's right, he added. I saw that scene you did, the one where you cry. Didn't look like acting. It wasn't, she said, her voice small. Then maybe it's time we stop pretending like the things we buried are gone. Anna looked down. Her hands trembled slightly. I was hurt, you know, he said. Not because you said no, but because I thought you didn't. Care. She took a long breath. I cared, but I was drowning. Couldn't save you without losing myself. He nodded, slowly, I guess. I wasn't ready to hear that back then. They stood in silence. Then he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small photo. Bent at the edges, faded. It was them as kids, sitting on the beach, barefoot, laughing, double quotes. Mom kept this, he said. Said you used to carry it in your wallet. Anna looked at the photo, touched it gently. I did, she whispered, until it got too hard to remember. Handed it to her. Maybe it's time to remember again, he said. A car horn honked in the distance. Time moved again. I'm staying in town a few days, he said, just in case you want to talk more. No pressure. Anna nodded. She couldn't find words yet. When she returned to the set, her eyes were red, but not broken. Keanu was still there. He didn't ask anything, just handed her a warm towel. You okay? He asked. Not yet, she said, but I will be. That afternoon, the scene they filmed was quiet. No big emotions. Just two characters sitting together on a rooftop. No lines for 5 full minutes. It's just presence, stillness. Eyes that told a story, and Anna didn't act. She simply sat, and in her silence, the camera caught something rare. Truth, after the scene. Rapt, the director approached both of them. I don't know what's been going on with you two, he said, but keep doing it. Whatever it is, it's the most honest work we've had all season. Anna looked at Keanu. He didn't smile. He just nodded, like he'd known all along. That evening, back in her trailer, Anna pinned the photo of her and her brother to the mirror. Beside it, she taped the note Keanu had written her the day before. 2 reminders, 2 truths. Then she whispered to herself, no more disappearing. Knock came at the door. She opened it. Keanu stood there, holding something small. Da-da-da-da-da. Saw this at a shop years ago, he said. I bought 2 copies. Never gave the second one away. Till now. She took it. Opened the cover. The first page read, the most beautiful stories aren't the ones where nothing breaks. Dot. But the ones where something doesn't, still keeps growing. She touched the words, then looked up. Thank you, she whispered. He nodded. Come. With me tomorrow, she said. I want you to meet my brother. You sure? Yes, she said. Tick. Because I don't want to walk back into the past alone. Not anymore. The restaurant was quiet. It wasn't fancy. Not the kind of place with red carpets or flashing lights. It had brick walls, wooden chairs, soft music playing through old speakers. It smelled like warmth-grilled bread and fresh herbs, the kind of smell that reminded people of home, even if they didn't have one. Anna sat at the corner table near the window, facing the door. Her fingers tapped the rim of the water glass, slow, steady. Her eyes drifted from the empty chair across from her, then to the clock on the wall, then to the door again. Then she saw him. Keanu walked in wearing a black shirt and jeans. simple, and quiet, like always. Behind him, her brother followed. His posture uncertain, but his eyes clearer than before. Anna stood. Keanu gave her a small nod. "I'm here," he was saying. Like always, they sat together, the three of them. A triangle of unspoken things. The waiter came and went. Menus closed. Orders taken. For a long while, they just ate in silence. Then Anna's brother spoke. "I watched both of you in that rooftop scene," he said. "It didn't feel like acting." Anna looked up, surprised. He continued. "It felt like watching two people who were carrying something, and neither one of them tried to hide it." Anna smiled faintly. "That's because we weren't acting." He looked at Keanu. "You've been good to her?" Keanu didn't nod, didn't shrug, just said, "I see her." Those words sat there, warm and heavy. Her brother leaned back, exhaling. "I didn't expect to feel this, okay, being here with both of you." Anna reached out and touched his hand. "Me neither," she whispered. "But peace rarely comes without a test." Asterisk. The next day, the set was busy, louder than usual. New guest producers had arrived. Investors. People who didn't know the names of the crew but knew the numbers behind the movie. Anna was scheduled for a delicate scene. One where her character broke down in front of a crowd. The assistant director, a man named Mark, pulled her aside. His voice sharp, clipped. "Don't overdo it," he said. "Just cry. One tear. We don't need your whole life in it." Anna stared at him. He laughed a little. "You're doing good, kid. Don't mess it up trying to be an artist." She turned away, her breath shallow. Then Keanu appeared. He had heard it. Every word. His steps were calm, measured. He walked right up to Mark. His voice was low but clear. "Don't talk to her like that." Mark blinked. "Excuse me?" "Don't get to speak to people like they're props," Keanu said. "I was just giving her direction." "No," Keanu said. "You were giving her disrespect." Mark looked around, now nervous. "Look, it's just how this industry works. Not on my set," Keanu said. The silence that followed was louder than any argument crew members watched. Cameras paused. The director stepped in, diffused the tension quickly, guiding Mark away. But the message had already been sent. Anna stood frozen, her heart pounding. When Keanu turned to her, she could barely speak. "Thank you," she whispered. He looked at her steady. "You don't have to shrink to fit someone else's frame." That afternoon, the scene was reshot. Anna stood in the center of the crowd, tears welling not from pressure but from power. The pain in the scene was hers. But it wasn't weakness. It was strength, real, raw, owned. And when the director called cut, studio clapped. Even the extras, even the grip holding the boom mic wiped his eyes. Asterisk. That night, Anna sat outside her trailer under the stars. The city lights blinked in the distance. The air was cool. Her brother arrived quietly and handed her a small package. "What's this?" "Mom's old bracelet is old bracelet," he said. "She told me to give it to you when I knew you were okay again." Anna opened it gently. A thin gold band. Worn but intact. She said you used to call it your courage bracelet. Anna nodded. "I forgot about that." "I didn't," he said. He sat beside her for a moment. Then he said, "You know, I used to be jealous of you." "Why?" she asked. "Because even when you were scared, you still moved forward. Even when you cried, you kept going." Anna leaned on his shoulder. "I was never fearless. I just learned to walk with it," he smiled. "You learned well." Just then, Keanu walked out of the shadows. "You two need some quiet," her brother smiled. "Nah, I'm heading out." "But thank you, Keanu." Keanu nodded. "Anytime." Anna stood and hugged her brother tightly. He walked off into the night with a little more peace in his steps. When she turned back to Keanu, she looked different. Grounded, whole. "I never had anyone stand up for me like that," she said. "Not in this industry." "Then they've been watching the wrong people," he replied. She laughed softly, then held up the bracelet. "Mom says this means courage." "Does it?" "Yeah," she whispered. "But tonight you reminded me what it looks like." He didn't reply. Just looked at her like she mattered. It's like she was more than talent. More than screen time. like she was real, asterisk, asterisk later, inside her trailer. She wrote one line in her notebook. He didn't rescue me. He reminded me I was never powerless to begin with. The final week of filming began with silence. Not the awkward kind, not the heavy kind. The kind that feels like breath before something meaningful. The kind that only comes when people have stopped pretending. The crew was slower now. More gentle. Even the director seemed different. More patient, more aware. It wasn't just a movie anymore. Something deeper had taken root between the lines, behind the scenes. Everyone felt it, but no one could explain it. Anna stood in front of the mirror in her trailer, touching the bracelet her mother had given her. The thin gold band sat warm against her wrist. Her notebook lay open beside the sink. She stared at one sentence she'd written the night before. Maybe the story we think we're telling isn't the one the world hears. Maybe it's softer. Maybe it's braver. Today was the last scene, the last take, the one everyone would remember. Her character was supposed to walk away from the man who had loved her silently. She was supposed to say goodbye, look strong, and leave. But Anna felt something inside her that didn't match the script, and she wasn't the only one. Asterisk, asterisk on set. The lights were soft. No dramatic filters, just natural glow spilling through the tall windows. It looked like late afternoon, even though it was barely noon, the city skyline in the background. The crew moving slowly around them. Keanu stood already in place, hands in his pockets, eyes low. He was calm. Still, but something in his breath gave him away. He was carrying something too. Anna stepped onto the mark beside him. The director's voice was low. Just feel it. Don't overthink it. Anna nodded. She didn't need a reminder. She already knew what she was about to do wasn't in the script. Camera. Rolling. Scene 61. Take 1. Action. Anna took a long breath in the scene. Her character was supposed to say a single line, "Thank you for loving me, even when I didn't love myself," and then walk away. But Anna didn't move. She looked at Keanu, at his character. Him. Her eyes welled up. The room went still. Keanu met her gaze. Anna stepped closer and then, without warning, she reached for his hand. Gently, slowly, like she was. Afraid it would disappear, the room held its breath. Then she said softly, "You waited for me when you didn't have to." Keanu didn't speak. His throat moved. His eyes never left hers. She kept going. "You never tried to fix me. You never pushed. You just stayed." A tear slipped down her cheek. But she didn't hide it. "I think love looks like that," she whispered. Quiet, patient, kind. Squeezed his hand once, then twice. "And I don't want to walk away." Keanu blinked. Once. Then he nodded. "Then don't," he whispered. The director didn't yell cut. He just let the moment happen. Anna and Keanu stood in silence, still holding hands. Then the lights faded slowly, and it was over. Asterisk, asterisk. No one clapped after the final take. They didn't need to. The air said enough. The editor wiped his eyes. Even the makeup artist stood with her hands to her chest, whispering they meant it. Asterisk, asterisk. Later that evening, the wrap party buzzed with quiet joy. People laughed, hugged, raised glasses. Crew members exchanged memories, favorite scenes, behind-the-scenes mishaps, but Keanu wasn't there. He was back in his trailer, packing slowly. Anna knocked once. He opened the door before she could knock again. She stepped in. Her face lit by something deeper than joy, something like truth. "You disappeared," she said. He smiled gently. "Crowds have never been my thing." "Mine either," she replied. They sat together, just like the first night. 2 cups of warm tea between them. Silence felt different now. Not full of unsaid things, but full of what had already been said. Anna reached into her pocket, handed him her notebook. "Read the last page," she whispered. He opened it. "Some people don't arrive with thunder. They arrive with presence, with silence. They change everything without ever trying to." He looked up at her. Anna smiled. "That's you." Keanu closed the notebook and handed it back. You changed too, he said. She nodded. You helped me remember who I was before I started trying to be perfect. The night sky stretched wide above the set, soft wind in the trees. What now? She asked. She shrugged. We let the world watch the movie. Let them see what truth looks like. And us, he asked gently. Anna leaned her head on his shoulder. We keep showing up. For each other. Quietly. Honestly. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Asterisk A. A few months later, the film was released. Audiences everywhere felt something different. It wasn't the acting. It wasn't the plot. It was the truth behind. Their eyes, the scene where Anna reached for Keanu's hand, became iconic. Fans didn't know it was unscripted. They only knew it felt real, because it was. Interviewers asked her about it. She only said, some moments you don't rehearse, you just live them. And when asked if she and Keanu were together, she smiled softly and replied, we understand each other. And sometimes, that's the rarest kind of love. Months later, on a quiet morning, Keanu sat alone at a park bench with a cup of tea. Reading a small, worn notebook, a shadow fell beside him. Anna sat down, holding her own cup. They didn't speak for a long time then. Without turning to look, she said, I never knocked that second time. Keanu looked over. I didn't need to, she smiled. You'd already left the door open. He chuckled softly. I guess I did. They sat there. No lights, no scripts. Just two people who had walked through silence, storm and screen and found something real. Something worth staying for?